You've heard the story before, humanity building a tower to reach heaven, and God confusing their languages. But what if that was only half the story? Because hidden in the ancient scriptures, there's a line that changes everything. Greater than, when the Most High divided the nations, he set their boundaries according to the number of the sons of God. Deuteronomy 32:8. It means that when God scattered mankind at Babel, he didn't just divide languages. He placed every nation under the authority of angels. Some of these angels remained faithful to heaven, but others began to desire worship for themselves. And from that rebellion, the world's false gods were born. This is not myth. This is the hidden story of how heaven's order became the world's chaos, and how the Tower of Babel was not just an event, but the beginning of a war for the soul of nations. Chapter 1: The Pride that Built the Tower. After the flood, humanity rose again. The descendants of Noah spoke one language, worked together, dreamed together. But unity without humility is dangerous. They said, "Let us build a city and a tower that reaches to heaven, so that we may make a name for ourselves." Genesis 11:4. This was not worship, it was defiance. They weren't trying to reach God, they were trying to replace him. They wanted heaven without holiness, a throne without the king. Ancient Jewish writings describe the tower as a ziggurat, a stairway of rebellion. Each level represented a step away from God's rule, and in their arrogance, they were unknowingly reenacting Lucifer's first sin, pride that seeks equality with God. When the smoke of their ambition reached heaven, judgment came down. Chapter 2: The Divine Council. When heaven divided the nations, God did not simply punish humanity by confusing speech. He reorganized creation itself. Deuteronomy 32 reveals a hidden act. When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, he fixed the boundaries according to the sons of God. But the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob. In ancient understanding, sons of God meant heavenly beings, angels of power, members of the divine council. 70 nations were formed, and each was given an angelic overseer. But to Israel, God kept direct rule, no intermediary, no guardian. He said, in essence, "The world may be divided among the angels, but my people will answer only to me." This is why the later scriptures call Yahweh the God above all gods. Not because the others were imaginary, but because they were lesser beings, corrupted rulers of fallen nations. Chapter 3: When angels became gods. As generations passed, something tragic occurred. The angels assigned to guide nations began to love their power. They were meant to shepherd, not to rule. But pride entered heaven once, and now it entered again on earth. In ancient Babylon, Egypt, Greece, and Rome, the same pattern appeared. The names changed, but the stories remained. Zeus on Olympus, Ra in the sun, Baal in the storm, Marduk in Babylon. All of them described beings of light and power who demanded worship, sacrifice, and submission. And they all mirrored the same rebellion. These were not mere legends. They were distorted memories of the divine council gone wrong. Angels who once served heaven, now thirsty for the reverence only God deserves. That's why Scripture says, "Greater than the gods of the nations are demons." Psalm 96:5. Each kingdom that rose, Egypt, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, carried not only human rulers, but spiritual princes ruling behind the thrones. Chapter 4: The Hidden War Behind Empires. The prophet Daniel witnessed this firsthand. When he prayed for Israel, The archangel Gabriel came to him, but said something shocking. The prince of Persia resisted me for 21 days until Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. Daniel 10:13. The prince of Persia wasn't human. It was an angelic power, a ruler of the Persian Empire in the spiritual realm. Behind every human conflict, there was a spiritual one. Michael, the protector of Israel, stood as heaven's general, defending the only nation still under God's direct rule. And the war Daniel glimpsed never ended. It continues unseen, in politics, culture, even belief systems, where nations still serve their ancient spiritual rulers. Chapter 5. The Return of Babel. A new tower. Rising thousands of years later, humanity once again speaks one language, the digital one. Through technology, nations emerging, cultures blending, information flowing freely. But like Babel, it comes with the same pride, greater than we can build our own future. We can create heaven on earth. Global systems rise, global alliances form, and spiritual forces stir again. Could it be that the same fallen powers that ruled ancient empires are reawakening through our unity? Some theologians call this the rebuilding of Babel, a world seeking unity without God. But Scripture warns, whatever they plan to do will not be withheld from them. And once more, humanity may find its tower reaching into forbidden heights. Chapter 6. The chosen portion. God's people among the nations. Even in the chaos of Babel, God's plan never failed. He chose Abraham from among the scattered nations. From him came Israel, the nation not ruled by angels, but by God himself. Through Christ, that same calling extends to all believers, a spiritual nation above all borders. St. Paul writes, "Greater than we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers." Ephesians 6:12. These principalities are the same ancient rulers once placed over the nations, but through the cross, their authority was broken. Christ reclaimed what was his, the nations themselves. Now, every baptized soul stands as a citizen of heaven, a child no longer under the rule of fallen gods. Chapter 7. The Final Gathering. When nations return to the King. The book of Revelation ends where Babel began, with nations, languages, and peoples united again. But this time, it's not through rebellion, but redemption. John sees a great multitude from every nation standing before the throne. The angels who once ruled are judged, and the glory of God fills what was once divided. Heaven and earth become one, and the curse of Babel is finally undone. If this story opened your eyes to the hidden war behind nations, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe for more Catholic mysteries revealed. Tap the bell icon so you never miss the next truth. Tell us in the comments, do you think the world today is rebuilding Babel again? And if angels once ruled nations, who do you think rules yours now?